The year is 2009. The Beatles remasters have just been released, along with Beatles Rock Band, for what it's worth. A mysterious website appears, thebeatlesneverbroakeup.com, a website that claims the story of an interdimensional traveler, a man who entered and returned from a different dimension, and returned from this alternate dimension with a tape titled Everyday Chemistry, a supposed Beatles album from the 1970s. Is this album real? Well, of course it is. You can download it directly from the website or hosting sites, such as archive.org. Is it real in the sense that it's an interdimensional Beatles album from the 1970s? Well, no. Upon first listen, you'd have to either be an extreme novice of a Beatles fan or just a fool to believe this story. 10-year-old me fell into the latter, a fool who believed this man's story, when Everyday Chemistry is obviously a remix of Beatles solo material. However, suspending disbelief, these tracks have been crafted extraordinarily well and truly sound like something created by the Beatles themselves. So much so that it's believed Everyday Chemistry was a secret drop by Apple Records themselves. Something rather credible as it contains high-quality versions of the Beatles solo tracks and released on the exact same day as the Beatles remasters. Not to mention, the album has been readily available online for nearly 14 years with absolutely zero actions taken against the album for copyright infringement. Whether it was indeed Apple Records or just a random dude, Everyday Chemistry is an excellent album, and I invite you to join me for a deep dive into the Beatles' lost interdimensional 70s album. Before we begin, I'd like to mention you can listen to Everyday Chemistry in its entirety, and you can download it using archive.org or the official website thebeatlesneverbroakeup.com, all links in description. Each track on this album deserves to be spoken on, but I lack the ability to properly analyze the instrumentation, and I believe the lyrics here to be simply mash-up rather than to have any real meaning. But I could be wrong. I'm no pro at this. My favorite personal tracks include the first 6 tracks, 4 Guys, Talking to Myself, Anybody Else, Sick to Death, Jen, and I'm Just Sitting Here, along with the 9th track, Days Like These. But although these are my favorites, this is just my opinion. Upon listening, you may say, God, I love this 10th track, Saturday Night. And you would be right, just as I am right, because everyone's opinion is their own. And in my opinion, this album could rival just about any Beatles album and is a solid 8.5 out of 10. For comparison, I hold Abbey Road at a 10 out of 10, the White Album at a 9 out of 10, and Let It Be at a 7.5 out of 10. Not a bad track on Abbey Road, Her Majesty included, and although Revolution 9 is indeed a sonic revolution, I personally don't have much love for the track, and I despise the short Wild Honey Pie, but I'm a huge fan of the non-wild, regular Honey Pie. Each track on Everyday Chemistry seems carefully crafted. Every song likely took tens of hours to create. I can't imagine how long it took our anonymous James Richards to put this together. Truly a spectacle for what was possible in personal track creation in 2009, and I commend him for his efforts. 4 Guys is an earworm for myself. This song gets stuck in my head way too frequently. Specifically the line, if I ever get out of here, thought of giving it all away, too rich to charity, off of 1973's Band on the Run. The other 10 tracks, F 'em. That's all for the video today. Thanks for watching. Gotcha. We haven't gone over which tracks composed each album yet. I'm sure you're all dying to hear which tracks were remixed and mashed up in order to create these tracks. And like they say in France, what daddy wants, daddy gets. Interesting wordplay they've got over there, but I'm not one to judge. I'd like to preface this part by noting that the tracks I'll list are those mashed up into each track, and that I won't be reviewing each track individually, just telling you the name of the track, who created the track, when it was released, and which album it was released on. I'll also be playing sections of each of the tracks. Be prepared to take a listen. Skip ahead to the conclusion if this doesn't interest you, but I'd stick around just to hear portions of these tracks. Track 1, 4 Guys. I'm Moving On, Lennon, 1980, Double Fantasy. Band on the Run, McCartney/Wings, 1973, Band on the Run. When We Was Fab, Harrison, 1987, Cloud 9. Vertical Man, Ringo, 1998, Vertical Man.
Long time ago when we was fab.
Track 2, Talking to Myself. I'm Losing You, Lennon, 1980, Double Fantasy. Uncle Albert / Admiral Halsey, McCartney, 1971, Ram. Stuck Inside a Cloud, Harrison, 2002, Brainwashed. Early 1970, Ringo, 1971, B-side to It Don't Come Easy. Track 3, Anybody Else, One Day at a Time, Lennon, 1973, Mind Games. Some Days, McCartney, 1997, Flaming Pie. Ballad of Sir Frankie Crisp, Let It Roll, Harrison, 1970, All Things Must Pass. Monkey See, Monkey Do, Ringo, 1978, Bad Boy.
I don't believe that you are mine.
Track 4, Sick to Death. Gimme Some Truth, Lennon, 1971, Imagine. No More Lonely Nights, McCartney, 1984, Give My Regards to Broad Street. Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, Harrison, and originally recorded in 1931 by Cab Calloway, 2002, Brainwashed. All By Myself, Ringo, 1974, Goodnight Vienna.
I'm sick to death of seeing things from tight-lipped condescending mamas little shoulders. I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocritics. All by myself. Ain't got nobody else. Ain't got nobody else. No.
Track 5, Jen. God Save Oz, Lennon, 2018, Imagine Sessions. Jet, McCartney / Wings, 1973, Band on the Run. Teardrops, Harrison, 1981, Somewhere in England. Hard Times, Ringo, 1978, Bad Boy.
She asked me round to have a bite to eat. When I declare she's invited to the street. I tell her that I'd rather be alone. She gets the car and says she'll drive me home.
Track 6, I'm Just Sitting Here. Watching the Wheels, Lennon, 1981, single. Call Me Back Again, McCartney / Wings, 1975, Venus and Mars. Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth, 1973, Living in the Material World. Loser's Lounge, Ringo, 1970, Bucopes of Blues. Track 7, Soldier Boy. Isolation, Lennon, 1970, John Lennon / Plastic Ono Band. Phil and John, 1, Lennon, 1998, John Lennon Anthology. Listen to What the Man Said, McCartney / Wings, 1975, Venus and Mars. Woman, Don't You Cry for Me, Harrison, 1976, 33 1/3. I Don't Believe You, Ringo, 1992, Time Takes Time. Track 8, Over the Ocean. You Are Here, Lennon, 1973, Mind Games. Heather, McCartney, 2001, Driving Rain. I Dig Love, Harrison, 1970, All Things Must Pass. Marwa Blues, Harrison, 2002, Brainwashed. Back Off Boogaloo, Ringo, 1972, single. Track 9, Days Like These. Nobody Told Me, Lennon, 1984, Milk and Honey. Right Away, McCartney, 1986, Press to Play. Soft-Hearted Hannah, Harrison, 1979, George Harrison. Christmas Eve, Ringo, 1999, I Wanna Be Santa Claus.
I fell in love with my soft-hearted Hannah. My head was high up in the sky. My head was high up in the sky. Sweet baby.
Track 10, Saturday Night. Cold Turkey, Lennon/Plastic Ono Band, 1969, single. Night Out, McCartney/Wings, 1973, Red Rose Speedway. P2, Vatican Blues, Last Saturday Night, Harrison, 2002, Brainwashed. Runaways, Ringo, 1992, Time Takes Time. Track 11, Mr. Gator's Swamp Jamboree. Sunday Bloody Sunday, Lennon/Plastic Ono Band, 1972, Sometime in New York City. Mama Miss America, McCartney, 1970, McCartney. Tired of Midnight Blue, Harrison, 1975, Extra Texture. $15 Draw, Ringo, 1970, Bucopes of Blues. Just a note, the final track, Mr. Gator's Swamp Jamboree, is a fully instrumental climax to the album, and although I haven't listened to it at the extent I've listened to some of the other tracks, I believe it to be a strong album closer. My least favorite track here was Saturday Night. I couldn't find a strong portion of the song to play for you all. All in all, Everyday Chemistry, although it's not the Beatles' lost 70s album, manages to stand tall as the best mashup of Beatles solo material, and I'd argue that until the day I die. That's all for the video today, and I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a good day. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. And for those of you still watching, thanks for sticking around until the end. See you next time, YouTube.